What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Regis Corporation RGS stock at the request of Dr. Mike Burry. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Very phenomenal move that it had, right? Back in June of this year. The craziest move, up or down, that I think this thing's ever seen, actually. With the most amount of volume too, so something very spectacular going on there, potentially signaling a very powerful bottom. If we look at the relative low, that was not the low, but the relative low to the relative high, you can see that you found support right on this orange line. This orange line is the 1,618 golden ratio marker. You went just below it, sure, but you can see, right? If you bought at that line, you're doing well for yourself. Very key area to find support, especially on this the end of this move here, especially with that amount of volume. Monthly RSI above the 50, that's nice to see. Weekly RSI chilling a little bit. You do have a lower low from this low right here, right? It's a lower low in your RSI while maintaining a higher low in your price. And yes, my voice is gone, you guys. It's not normally like this, but my voice is gone for the day. But it'll come back hopefully soon. Lower lows in your RSI, higher lows in your price. It's a good thing. They call that hidden bullish divergence. Type it up. Hidden bullish divergence. What is it? It's when you have a lower low in your indicator or your oscillator, whatever word they choose to use. Lower low in there with a higher low in the price. That's what that means, right? So, and that's normally good for continuation. Continuation of what? Of the trend, which might be upwards, right? It might be upwards. It's too early to say now. This thing is absolutely in a downtrend, but with this month, I mean, this very clearly to me looks to be a break of that trend, right? We're establishing the new trend. We're looking for a higher low and then going on to form a higher high. We might have already found our higher low, right? It's hard to say, but looking at the weekly RSI, I definitely think there's more room to go to the upside. You could come down a little bit and still be fine as well. It's very common when you break out to pull back to your breakout point, right? The previous area of resistance right here, kind of a previous area of support in this zone as well. Perhaps to pull back there and then find support and move higher. I'm not sure if you do that, but time will tell. You know, if we take a relative low to a relative high here, it is very common to pull back to your 382, which is in that exact zone that we were just identifying, right there around 15.22. So around 15 bucks, you're at $22.37. You might pull back to that area. It's not common. What I'm about to say is very uncommon, but it does happen, and it normally happens in very strong moves, which I would say this is a very strong move, that you don't reach for your 382, but you consolidate instead in your 236 area, which you're doing right now. So as long as we're not closing any weeks below here, below $21, I think we're absolved of going there. But if we do start closing weeks below $21 any week, this week, next week, whatever, 15 might be where we go. And it makes sense. It would look good from a structural standpoint. We get a higher low in, pulling back to the 382 after a very strong move, very common to do, finding support at previous areas of resistance, previous areas of support, you know, previous areas where we had a gap. Very healthy things to do. So if you move lower, this thing is not dead in the water, but you might not. You just might not move lower because you are holding this 123 green line, this moving average as well, consolidating right above it. I really like to see that as well. Looking at the daily for what it's worth, I will say it does seem a bit like a head and shoulders pattern, right? This does look a bit to me like a left shoulder here, right? You've got your head, and then here's your right shoulder over here, right? I'm not drawing it the best, but you can see right shoulder, head, left shoulder. There we go. And if this is a head and shoulders pattern, I don't know if I'd measure it from down here. I'd probably measure from this low here. From the low to the high, the breakout move, the measure move would take you down to about $10. And I don't know if you go down as low as $10, but let's just see if we can make sense out of that from a low point to a high point. Yeah, I mean, you could. It's possible. There's areas that make sense down there in the fibs and in the price, but I don't know if you do that. I personally don't know if you do that. And I might not have it measured exactly proper, but anyways, you could. It's definitely something worth noting. And I think your volume matches up with the head and shoulders pretty well. Volume's dying off. Yeah, it does match up pretty well. Had earnings today. Big deal on this, right? Humongous compared to what it was estimated to be, but the revenue was down, so that's probably why it wasn't a big deal. I don't know. I really still don't even know what these numbers are. I understand revenue. But I don't understand that. It doesn't seem to matter if that's good or bad. It only seems to matter if the revenue is good or bad. And they were under what they were expected, and that's okay. Sometimes that happens, right? Hopefully for the right reasons and not for the wrong reasons. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not the fundamental guy. That's Dr. Mike's department. Weekly or the daily RSI would suggest that you go lower as well. You are consolidating. It is very neutral, yes, but I wouldn't be surprised if you moved lower. You're at 22.37 right now. Had a little bit of a wick of a day yesterday. Perhaps you only go down as low as $20, $21, something like that, not too much lower. Again, really emphasizing that you need to be closing weeks above $21, okay, if you want to avoid going to that $15 zone or lower. But I do think you move a little bit lower from here. Looking at the 3 hour, I don't know. I might take that back actually. I don't know. I might take that back. 3 hour looks kind of interesting, and the 1 hour looks good too. Okay, so I might take that back actually. I bet you do move up higher. Really, probably the best guess is the same thing I've been saying about this thing for a while. It's just going to be boring. It's going to move sideways, but it's probably coming to the end of that. It is probably coming to the end of that. I keep contradicting myself every single time I say something. I'm like, but maybe not. We're getting to that point. We are getting to that point, I think, where we're going to pick a direction. Hard to say. High to low. Get above $24.30. It's on to the upside. Close below $21 for multiple days or any given week, and it's on to the downside to the tune of like $15 or lower. So you got targets at $10, you got targets at $15, anywhere in between would do as well. So you're at 22.37 now, pick a direction. That's all we're saying, right? And whenever you do pick a direction, we've got the downside targets, but if you pick the upside, your minimum expected zone, you're at 22.37 now, right? Minimum expected target to reach would be about $42. And then potentially as high as $52, right? 42 to 52, somewhere in that zone. You could go higher, but that's just the next kind of realm of expectations there. So, yeah. And it all starts with a break above 24.30 or a break below 21, and then we go lower first. But anyways, that's it. That's all I got for you guys. If you liked the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.